Yes, I agree. That is Krakow's aim, and yes, it's becoming more and more common. What the gentleman's talking about is Krakow has a project which is a new investor centre, and in order to support the cost, the ongoing cost of that, they have an idea, a plan to generate additional income. Some of that will come from a pure concession model, which actually relates largely to underground parking that will be made available to local residents and in fact just people generally in the area. So that is a pure concession PPP project. The other way to generate alternative income comes from commercial activities. So some of the space will be given over to both office rental and also some retail elements, some commercial retail elements. And if we consider that in the whole, what we see is essentially a drive from both concession and commercial activity to simply subsidise the availability fee on the PPP side. And that now is becoming an increasingly common feature. We see even small social housing projects, perhaps 150 units, where small retail elements are being established as an integrated part of the design. So we've seen in several different towns 100 to 150 units spread over 3 blocks, and maybe only 200 square metres will be given over to a commercial retail activity, an embedded shop, which will generate retail profits, which will help to subsidise the fee. That's becoming more and more common, and so it should, because it will help projects to happen. And I believe that that feature that we see commonly now, we certainly didn't see 2 or 3 years ago, and again for me, it's just an indication that the model is developing and the model is maturing.
I guess just a follow-on question to that, Krakow in this case took it right to the stage of going all the way through building permit, and that to me seems a bit uncommon. Is that right, my assessment there?
Sure. They were caught between a rock and a hard place. The issue that the gentleman's talking about is that Krakow's new investor centre is a very significant PPP project in the order of 55 million euros. And Krakow presented to a bidders conference fairly recently lockdown designs. And one of the bidders in the conference said, is there any potential to value engineer your designs? In other words, simply build what you want but cheaper. And Krakow said, I'm very sorry, but no. And the key reason why is because they already have taken it through a very long and difficult planning process to the point where they have build approval. Once you have build approval, if you change any aspect of designs, you have to go back to halfway back into the process and do that final half again. So many would say, well, that was rather stupid, because what they provided is what we call an input-based contract, which is billed as this, instead of asking the bidders for an output-based contract, which is we need office facilities for 200 public servants, please create something for us. So the general perspective is that that was completely the wrong way to do it. The tail was wagging the dog. However, in Krakow, they have a very unique planning environment, a very, very difficult planning environment, largely because of the nature of the city and its UNESCO heritage and so on. So I think quite rightly, in this case, they did let the tail wag the dog, because it was very important that they knew that they could make the project happen. And the only real way, the only real acid test was to have in their hands build approval. So they could then turn to the bidders and say, don't worry about it, it's not going to take 7 years, because that's typically how long it takes. We've got it, which means it can happen. So they did it wrong, but they did it wrong for the right reason.